ChatGPT said. Ana Morales stepped onto the cracked sidewalk before the old brick courthouse just as the sun inched above the rooftops. Her heart thudded in her chest like a drum. She held tight to her daughter Sophia's small hand. Sophia was 6, and she looked up at her mother with wide, trusting eyes. The two of them wore their best clothes. Anna's dress was soft blue, and Sophia wore a pink sweater with tiny flowers stitched on the front. Well, they both tried to smile, but the worry in Anna's face made the smiles tremble. Inside the courthouse, the air felt cold and still. Walls smelled of old wood and musty paper. Anna glanced at the other people waiting in the hall. Some watched her with pity. Others whispered behind their hands. A tall bailiff stood guard by the door to the courtroom, his expression serious. Anna imagined that behind that door a judge sat ready to make a final decision. She tried to steady her breath. Today was the day of her custody hearing. It had been a long fight with her ex-husband over Sophia. He had hired an expensive lawyer. Anna could only afford a legal aid attorney. But she loved Sophia more than anything in the world, and she refused to give up. Her lawyer, Mr. Chavez, met her outside the door. His suit was neat, but his eyes looked tired. He whispered, Anna, we have one last chance. The judge is asking us to clarify some paperwork. If we cannot, they may hold you in contempt. Anna's stomach flipped. Contempt of court sounded so harsh. She shook her head. But I did everything they asked. I filled out the forms on time, she said softly. His jaw tightened. Yes. But the county clerk misplaced one page. We need to prove you submitted it. Anna bit her lip. They had tried to fix that mistake already. The clerk had denied the error. A thin line of sweat ran down Anna's back. She pressed her hand over it, trying not to fidget. Sophia squeezed. Her hand had whispered, Mama, are we okay? Anna knelt and hugged her daughter close. We will be okay, sweetheart. Just wait a little longer. Sophia nodded, but did not let go of her mother's hand. They entered the courtroom in a single file. The room was simple. Wooden benches, a raised dais for the judge, and an American flag in the corner. Light from tall windows cast long rectangles on the dusty floor. At the center sat Judge Baker, a stern woman with gray hair pulled back tight. Her eyes looked tired too, as though she had heard many sad stories before. Anna climbed the few steps to the bench. Before she could speak, the bailiff cleared his throat. Madam, you are in contempt of court for failing to comply with the order to produce a certified copy of your filing. You must leave the courtroom at once. Anna froze. She did not understand. Mr. Chavez stood and protested softly. Your Honor, we have proof in the car. May I fetch it? The judge frowned. No, the deadline has passed. The court will not bend its own rules. Anna saw the bailiff move forward. Her breath caught in her throat. Sophia's eyes brimmed with tears. Anna stood in shock as the bailiff gestured toward the door. She had never felt so small. Her cheeks burned with shame. People in the courtroom shifted in their seats. Some stared, some looked away. Anna's mind raced. How could this happen?
How?
She had followed the court's instructions, but no one seemed to care. The bailiff gently took Sophia's hand and led her out. Anna watched her daughter go. Fear and helplessness flooded Anna's chest. She turned to escape, but stumbled over her own shoe. Outside the courtroom doors, Sophia stood with a tight grip on the bailiff's arm. She looked tiny in her shoes. Anna rushed forward. Please, let me take my daughter, she pleaded. The bailiff hesitated, then released Sophia's hand. Sophia ran into her mother's arms. Anna hugged her daughter so hard that Sophia's head buried into Anna's shoulder. Her tears wet Anna's dress. Anna whispered, I'm so sorry, mi amor. I'm so sorry. Sophia squeezed her back and whispered, It's okay, Mama. But Anna knew it was not okay. Journalists snapped pictures in the hallway. One reporter held a camera. He barked questions. Ms. Morales, why were you removed from the courtroom? Do you think this is fair? Anna could not find her voice. She clutched Sophia's hand and backed away, tears streaming down her face. Mr. Chavez quickly ushered them toward a side door. He leaned close and said, We need to leave before it gets worse. Let's go. Anna nodded, tears catching in her throat. They walked through a narrow corridor into a parking lot. Outside, the spring air felt harsh. It whipped around Anna's face. She blinked back the tears and looked at Sophia. Her daughter's little face was still wet, but her eyes were steady. Anna dug in her purse for tissues and handed one to Sophia. Then she pressed a hand to her own heart, trying to calm the pain. They got into their old sedan. Mr. Chavez jumped into the front seat. His hands trembled ever so slightly. "Oi," he shoved, a manila folder on his lap. "This contains the proof we need," he said quietly. Anna nodded. They sped away in silence, leaving the courthouse and its heavy doors behind. Half an hour later, Anna sat in the back seat with Sophia tucked at her side. Her lawyer pulled out the folder and flipped through papers. Stapled inside was a receipt from the county clerk with Anna's name and a date stamp. "See this? This shows you filed on time," he whispered. Anna's hope glimmered. "Then we can file the appeal today?" she asked, her voice shaky. Mr. Chavez nodded. "I'll draft the motion right away, but we have to act fast." Anna squeezed his hand in gratitude. On the drive back home, Anna looked at her daughter in the rearview mirror. Sophia was doodling. Quietly on a notepad, she drew a picture of their little house with flowers around it. Anna smiled sadly. Her daughter's innocence gave her strength. No matter what happened, Anna thought, she would fight for Sophia's future. At home, Anna gathered every scrap of paper she had. Court notices, receipts, emails printed out. She sorted them carefully on the dining table. Sophia hovered beside her, watching. "Mama, can I help?" she asked. Anna smiled. "Yes, you can. You hold these papers for me." Sophia handed her a stack of white envelopes. Anna's heart ached at the sight of her daughter doing this. She knelt and hugged Sophia again. "Thank you, Michello. You're very brave." They worked late into the evening. Outside, the sky turned dark, and the streetlights flickered on. Anna typed the motion for appeal, her fingers flying across the keys. She double-checked every fact. If she made one mistake, the judge could dismiss her again. She felt tired, but determined. At last, she printed the documents and sealed them in an envelope addressed to the court clerk. Anna sat at the edge of her bed, Sophia asleep in the next room. She closed her eyes and whispered a prayer. "Please, let this be enough." She remembered the fear in her daughter's eyes earlier, the heavy weight of shame when she walked out of that courtroom. She would not let that happen again. Anna promised herself she would keep fighting until the judge saw her side of the story. As she drifted towards sleep, Anna thought of the long road ahead. She did not know how the court would respond. But she did know one thing: she would not give up. Not for herself, and not for Sophia. The night felt quiet at last, but in Anna's heart hope burned like a candle, small but bright against the dark. Next morning, Anna woke to the sharp ring of her phone. Her eyes blinked open to the pale light slipping through the curtains. Sophia still slept beside her, clutching her favorite stuffed rabbit. Anna slid out of bed, careful not to wake her. She glanced at the small kitchen clock. It was 6:30. She felt a knot of worry tighten in her chest. Yesterday's courtroom ordeal had left her exhausted. Coffee swirled in her mug as she scrolled through her messages. One by one, her eyes widened. A local reporter had posted video of her removal from court. Comments poured in some kind, many angry at the judge's harsh treatment. Friends tagged her in posts. Even people she did not know sent messages of support. "This is wrong," one said. "Stay strong, Anna," another wrote. Tears welled in her eyes. She felt warmth in her heart. People cared. On her phone's home screen, a new alert flashed. "Petition for fair treatment of Anna Morales." Anna tapped it. The petition page showed tens of thousands of signatures already. Each name felt like a small hand lifting her spirit. She scrolled down and read a few comments. Every mother deserves respect. No one should face contempt for a missing form. Earth caught as she saw messages from strangers vowing to help. She never expected such a response. Her lawyer, Mr. Chavez, called next. "Anna, I've just spoken to a civil rights group. They offered to join your defense," he said. His voice held relief. "They have resources we lack. Can file a stronger appeal." Anna sank into her chair. She sipped her coffee and nodded. even though he could not see her. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you so much." She held the phone tight, imagining the heavy legal books this group could bring to her side. While she talked, Sophia padded into the kitchen in her nightgown. Her hair stuck out every which way. Anna smiled at her sleepy face. "Good morning, my sunshine," she said, ruffling Sophia's hair. Sophia yawned and climbed into her mother's lap. "Mama, I heard people on the phone," she whispered. Anna hugged her. "Yes, sweetie. People want to help us." Sophia blinked. "Like friends?" Anna nodded. "Yes, friends everywhere." After breakfast, Anna posted a humble thank you message on her own profile. She wrote in simple words, "Thank you for your kindness. I never thought my story would touch so many hearts." She added a photo of her and Sophia smiling in happier times. Within minutes, people reacted with heart emojis and supportive comments. Some offered money to help pay legal fees. Others promised to spread the word. Anna's heart filled again. She realized she was not alone. By mid-morning, her phone rang again, this time with a Washington, D.C. area code. Anna swallowed. Could this be someone from the White House? Answered, voice trembling. "Hello?" A calm voice introduced himself as Tom Reynolds, a staffer at the White House Office of Public Engagement. He said, "We have seen your case in the news. We'd like to understand what happened and see how we might help." Anna pinched her wrist to steady herself. I'm honored," she said softly. Tom explained that the White House had received many messages about Anna's story. He told her they were looking into possible federal involvement because her removal from court raised questions about fairness. Anna felt her pulse race. She recalled the day before, the judge's stern face, the bailiff's firm hand. Now someone in power was listening. She managed to speak calmly. "Thank you for caring," she said. "I only want a chance to show the judge the truth." Tom asked if Anna could send any official documents, filings, and evidence of the missing page. He promised secure email. Anna hurried to her computer and scanned every paper she had. The stamped receipt, the court forms, her appeal notice. Fingers flew as she attached the files and pressed send. She exhaled in relief when the last document uploaded. Tom said, "We will review these and be in touch soon. Stay strong." Anna thanked him and hung up, her hands shaking. Over the next few hours, news outlets picked up the story. A local TV station interviewed the civil rights lawyer representing Anna. On screen, he spoke clearly. This removal was unnecessary and cruel. He will pursue justice at every level. Anna watched the broadcast with Sophia perched on her lap. She hugged her close and told her, "We are safe, mi amor. Things are moving." Sophia nodded, her small face serious as she tried to understand. Anna's phone buzzed again. It was a text from an unknown number. "White House staff meeting at 3. Please be available." Anna read and reread the message. She felt a mix of excitement and fear. What would happen at that meeting? Would they decide to intervene? She walked around her living room, running her hand along the family photos. In each photo, Sophia smiled brightly. Anna thought of her daughter and felt renewed purpose. She would do everything she could. By mid-afternoon, Anna and Mr. Chavez received an invitation, a video conference call with White House officials. Her lawyer gathered his notes and told Anna, "Be honest and calm. They need your story." Anna nodded, smoothing her hair. She changed into her blue dress, again the one she wore to court. It made her feel strong. Sophia helped pin a small bow in her mother's hair. "For luck," Sophia said. Anna kissed her forehead. "Thank you, sweetheart." Sharp Anna and Mr. Chavez logged in. On the screen, several well-dressed people waited patiently. One woman introduced herself as Deputy Counsel Sarah Lee. Another man was from the Department of Justice. They asked Anna to describe what had happened in the courthouse. Anna spoke slowly, using simple words. She told them about the misplaced page, the contempt order, the fear she felt when they tried to remove her. She spoke of Sophia's tears. Sarah Lee listened with furrowed brow. Then she said, "Anna, this situation is unacceptable. No parent should face such treatment over a clerical error. We will issue a formal request to the state court to pause any actions until we review the case. Anna felt tears prick her eyes. "Thank you," she said softly. The man from the Justice Department added, "We will also look into whether there was an abuse of discretion. We take these matters seriously." During the call, Mr. Chavez presented the evidence again and talked about legal standards. Officials asked questions, took notes, and promised a follow-up. The session ended with warm words. "We stand with you," Sarah Lee said. Anna felt her heart swell. She mouthed, "Thank you" to the screen as they said goodbye. The call ended. For a moment, Anna and her lawyer just stared at each other. Then Mr. Chavez gripped her shoulder. "We've cleared a major hurdle," he said. Anna managed a small, joyful smile. Later that evening, Anna sat on her porch with Sophia. The sky above them was painted with pink and purple. Fireflies danced in the yard. Anna held Sophia's hand and told her, "Today we made many friends who want to help." Sophia nodded and pointed at the fireflies. "They look like stars," she said. Anna smiled. "Yes, mi amor, they do." She pulled her daughter close and whispered, "Thank you for being brave." Sophia yawned and leaned into her mother. As night fell, Anna reflected on the day's events. From a small courtroom in her town to the halls of the White House, her life had changed so quickly. She felt grateful for every person who listened, signed the petition, and stood by her side. She realized that her fight was bigger than her. Alana, it was about fairness and respect for every parent. She resolved to keep sharing her story until no one else suffered the way she did. Anna kissed Sophia goodnight and tucked her into bed. She stood by the doorway and watched her daughter's chest rise and fall in gentle sleep. A sense of quiet confidence filled Anna's heart. The next steps might be hard, but she was not afraid. She had a community of support and the promise of help from the highest office in the land. In that moment, Anna whispered into the dark room, "We will be all right. We are." And for the first time in days, she truly believed it. Anna woke before dawn in her small bedroom. Pale light of early morning slipped past her curtains. She sat up and drew in a slow breath. Today was the day she would go to Washington, D.C. Her heart fluttered like a bird in a cage. She dressed carefully in a navy blue jacket and matching pants, the outfit she thought looked most like a professional. Sophia peeked around the door in her pajamas and smiled sleepily. Anna reached out and brushed a loose strand of hair from her daughter's forehead. "It's a big day, sweetheart," she whispered. Sophia nodded and climbed into Anna's lap. Anna wrapped her arms around her daughter and held her tight. "I promise I will come back soon," she said softly. Sophia hugged her back and buried her face in Anna's shoulder. Anna kissed the top of Sophia's head and stood, carrying her. To the kitchen, breakfast was quiet and simple. Toast, fruit, and warm milk. Mr. Chavez arrived to drive them to the airport. He loaded their bags into the trunk of his car. Anna carried Sophia, and they all climbed in. The ride to the small regional airport took only 20 minutes, but Anna felt every mile in her chest. She stared out the window at the sleepy streetlights. Still glowing, she thought of the courthouse steps, the bailiff's firm hand, and the judge's cold words. Now only hours later, she would meet White House officials to discuss her case. The contrast seemed unreal. She clutched Sophia's hand and whispered, "We are almost there." At the airport, they joined a quiet crowd waiting by the gate. The plane was small and old, but reliable. Sophia hopped onto a seat by the window and tapped at it with excitement. Anna smiled and settled beside her. Mr. Chavez sat across the aisle, reviewing papers in a neat stack. Anna looked out at the runway and waited. Soon, the engines rumbled to life, and the plane began to move. Anna felt the familiar lift in her stomach as they rose into the sky. She held Sophia's hand tight, and Sophia leaned against her. Outside, the world fell away into tiny patches of fields and roads. Anna pressed her forehead to the cool glass and closed her eyes. She prayed again for strength and clarity. When the plane landed at Reagan National Airport, Anna felt a wave of new energy. She gathered their bags and stepped into the busy terminal. People hurried past, many in suits and carrying briefcases. Anna adjusted her jacket and scanned the faces around her. Mr. Chavez hailed a black sedan with a driver in uniform. They climbed in, and the driver spoke only to ask their destination, the White House. Anna's breath caught. The car drove through the streets of Washington, tall buildings rising on each side. Trees lined the roads and flags fluttered at each corner. Anna watched the city pass by, her thoughts racing. She thought of her little house back home and the turning point this journey represented. She squeezed Sophia's hand again. They arrived. At the White House gates, a guard checked their names and waved them in. The driver guided them to a VIP parking area near the West Wing. Anna's stomach tightened as she stepped out onto the sidewalk. The White House loomed before her, its bright columns and wide steps a symbol of power and hope. She took a steadying breath and walked forward. Sophia at her side, Mr. Chavez close behind. Inside, the corridors were lined with portraits of past presidents and famous advisors. The walls felt alive with history. Anna tried to touch the smooth wood paneling, but thought better of it. Sophia skipped a step ahead, excited by the grand hallways. Anna smiled at her daughter's wonder and guided her gently in a conference room off the main hall. They met the White House team. Deputy Counsel Sarah Lee stood to greet them. She wore a calm smile that made Anna feel at ease. Behind her sat several officials: a lawyer from the Department of Justice, a human rights advisor, and a case manager. Each shook Anna's hand and thanked her for coming. Anna took a seat at the long table, Sophia on her lap. Mr. Chavez sat beside her. Sarah Lee began by praising Anna's courage and explaining how the White House had reviewed her documents. She said the court's handling of her case raised serious questions about fairness and the right to due process. Anna listened with wide eyes, her throat tight with relief. Sarah Lee then outlined the next steps. She said the White House would send an official letter to the state judiciary asking for a stay on any further action. The Department of Justice would open a preliminary inquiry into whether Anna had been treated fairly under federal law. They asked Anna to describe how she felt during her removal from court. Anna spoke clearly, using simple words so her daughter could follow. She told of her fear the moment the bailiff stepped forward, of Sophia's tears in the hallway, and of her own helplessness. She spoke of the hope she felt when people across the country rose to support her. Sarah Lee nodded gravely and took notes. The room was silent except for the scratching of pens. After Anna finished, the DOJ lawyer asked Mr. Chavez to present the evidence packet. Mr. Chavez stood and laid out the documents on the table: the stamped receipt, the missing page, the appeal notice, and the petition signatures. He explained each item in turn. The officials examined the files and asked questions. Anna watched as they turned the pages, their faces serious and attentive. When the review was complete, Sarah Lee said, "We are confident this can lead to a reversal of the contempt order and a fair hearing in state court. We will also propose training for local judges on how to handle sensitive family matters." Anna felt tears burn behind her eyes. She squeezed Sarah Lee's hand in gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered. Before they left, the White House team invited Anna to a small reception in a nearby room. A few staff members offered tea and fruit. Anna and Sophia chatted softly with some advisors who praised Sophia for her bravery. Sophia beamed as she sipped apple juice and nibbled a cookie. Anna smiled at her daughter's joy. Mr. Chavez joined them and said quietly, "You did great today." Anna nodded, still amazed at everything that had happened. They posed for a quick photo with Sarah Lee so the White House could share their story internally. When it was time to go, Sarah Lee hugged Anna and said, "You are an inspiration." "We'll be in touch with updates." Anna left the room feeling light, as though she floated on air, back in the sedan. Anna gazed out the window at the city as they drove to the hotel where she would stay the night. She closed her eyes and let herself imagine the judge reading the White House's letter and pausing the contempt order. She pictured a new hearing in her hometown, fair and respectful. Sophia leaned against her and yawned. Anna brushed a strand of hair from her daughter's face. "Sleep now, mi amor," she whispered. Sophia nodded and closed her eyes. Anna rested her head against the seat and let the memories of the day wash over her. From her small town to the heart of power, her journey had shown her that even one person's story can make a difference. She drifted toward sleep, confident of the promise to come. The sun was just rising when Anna's phone buzzed. She sat up in the soft hotel bed, Sophia still curled beside her. Her heart pounded as she saw a message from Mr. Chavez. State court just sent notice. Contempt order is lifted. New hearing. Scheduled. Anna closed her eyes, letting relief wash over her like a warm wave. She pressed her hand over her heart. After weeks of fear, the judge had finally listened. She hugged Sophia close and whispered, "We can go home soon." Later that morning, Anna and Sophia left the hotel in a town car bound for the airport. The sky was clear and bright over Washington as they drove past monuments and wide lawns. Pressed her face against the window, looking at trees and people jogging on paths. Anna smiled at her daughter's wonder. She felt free for the first time in weeks. The weight of shame and worry that had pressed on her chest now felt lighter. She remembered the moment the order was lifted, how her hands had trembled, and she had sat down to breathe. Now she could imagine a fresh start. When they landed back in their small town, reporters and neighbors waited at the airport. Anna stepped down onto the tarmac, holding Sophia's hand. Camera flashes went off, but she held her head high. She wore her blue dress again, the one that felt like armor. Sophia wore a yellow coat with bright buttons. People cheered as they appeared. Some cried. Anna waved and smiled, her eyes shining with hope. A neighbor ran forward with a bouquet of daisies. Anna took the flowers and pressed them to her face, breathing in their gentle scent. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you all." Back home, the front yard looked just as they left it, with daisies and marigolds blooming. Anna unlocked the door and stepped inside. Sophia closed behind. The living room felt warm and familiar. Sunlight danced on the wooden floor. Anna led Sophia to the couch and sat down. She opened her purse and took out the official court notice. Her shoulder, as Anna read the words aloud, "Contempt order vacated. Hearing date set for 2 weeks from today." Anna's voice shook with joy. Sophia clapped her hands. "Mama, we did it," she cried. Anna scooped her daughter up and spun her around. "Yes, mi amor, we did it." Over the next days, Anna prepared for the new hearing. She met Mr. Chavez. At her kitchen table, piles of papers between them. This time, no missing pages would threaten her. She and her lawyer practiced what she would say in court. Anna spoke slowly, telling the truth about her love for Sophia and her fight for fairness. Often, Sophia sat nearby, coloring or playing quietly. Anna watched her daughter and felt fierce protectiveness. She wanted Sophia to grow up feeling safe and respected. Meanwhile, local officials contacted Anna to invite her to a town hall meeting. At the community center, news had spread that the White House and the DOJ had intervened. The center buzzed with people on the night of the meeting. Neighbors, families, even some who had criticized Anna at first. She stood on a low stage, Sophia holding her hand. A podium stood in front of a row of chairs where the mayor and the judge sat. The judge looked shy and nervous. Anna took a deep breath and began. She spoke in simple words, telling her story again. As a victim, but as a mother who loved her child. She spoke of the fear she felt in court, of the shame she carried home, and of how kindness from strangers gave her strength. She looked at the judge and said, "I know you follow rules, Your Honor, I followed them too. But a missing page should not take a mother from her child." The judge nodded, his face softening. Anna heard a quiet sigh in the crowd. When she finished, people stood and applauded. Sophia bounced on her toes, clapping. Anna swept her daughter into her arms, tears of joy in her eyes. After the meeting, the mayor announced a plan to train court staff and judges on family-friendly practices. He said, "We will learn from this mistake so no one else suffers." The judge added, "I apologize to Ms. Morales and Mrs. Morales." Anna accepted his words with grace. She knew an apology could never erase the pain, but it marked a new beginning. Neighbors gathered around, offering hugs, food, and their time. One woman brought a basket of homemade muffins. A man brought fresh flowers from his garden. Anna felt her community wrap around her like a warm blanket. As the hearing day approached, Anna grew both nervous and excited. She and Mr. Chavez reviewed every detail one last time. Her evidence was clear, her story true. She knew this hearing would not have the same tension as before. The contempt order was gone, and the White House letter lay on the judge's desk. Anna stood in front of a full courtroom on that day. Sophia sat in the front row, clutching her rabbit. Mr. Chavez stood ready beside Anna. The judge entered and took his seat. For a moment, silence held the room. Then Anna rose and spoke from her heart. She explained how she filed her forms on time, how a clerk's mistake caused pain, and how she loved her daughter more than anything. She described the support she received from neighbors, from strangers online, and from the highest office in the land. She said, "This case is bigger than me. It is about respect for families everywhere." She paused and looked at Sophia, whose eyes shone with pride. Anna's voice was steady as she concluded, "I ask only for fairness and a chance to be heard." The judge nodded and replied, "Your request is granted. The court will proceed with your custody case with full respect for your rights." Relief cracked open Anna's chest like sunshine through clouds. The courtroom erupted in quiet applause. Anna sank back into her chair, tears sliding down her cheeks. Dafia ran to her side and hugged her. Anna hugged her back and let herself feel the joy she had fought so hard to claim. Outside the courthouse, reporters asked questions. But Anna spoke only of her daughter's happiness and the kindness that had guided her path. She said, "This isn't just my victory. It's for every parent who deserves respect." Months later, Anna looked back on her journey with gratitude. The pilot legal aid program that grew out of her story awarded grants to small towns across the state. Judges and clerks completed training sessions. A local community center hosted workshops. On family law, Anna's nonprofit, founded with help from the White House Initiative, provided free advice and support to single parents. She traveled to other towns to share her experience and encourage change. Each time she spoke, she remembered Sophia's hand in hers and the courage it gave her. One spring afternoon, Anna and Sophia visited the courthouse not for a fight but for a tour. They walked the same halls where Anna once faced removal. Sophia skipped ahead, laughing as Anna pointed out the grand doors and the bench where the judge sat. The bailiff smiled and gave Sophia a badge sticker. Anna turned to Sophia and said, "See how things can change?" Sophia beamed. They walked outside into the sunshine. Anna held Sophia's hand and looked up at the building. She whispered, "We made a difference." That evening, Anna tucked Sophia into bed. She kissed her forehead and sat beside her. Sophia looked up and asked, "Mama, will you always fight for what is right?" Anna smiled and stroked her daughter's hair. "Always, mi amor. I will fight for you and for others who cannot fight alone." Sophia closed her eyes and whispered, "I am proud of you." Anna felt her heart swell. She watched Sophia drift to sleep, peaceful and safe. Anna turned off the light and closed the door in the quiet hallway. Anna paused. She looked out a window at the stars shining above her town. She traced each light with her eyes, remembering the fireflies that had welcomed her home. Her journey had taught her that one voice could echo into many hearts. She thought of the woman who almost lost everything, of her daughter's tears, and of the help that arrived from a place she never imagined. Anna smiled and whispered a thank you to the night. Tomorrow would bring new challenges: custody decisions, community work, and the routine of life. But Anna faced them all with confidence. She had learned that fairness could triumph, that kindness could travel far, and that hope could glow even after the darkest moments. She held on to that hope like a lantern guiding her path, and she knew that as long as she walked with courage and love, no one would ever throw her or any mother out of court again. Anna woke before dawn again, but this time her heart felt light instead of heavy. She slowly opened her eyes and smiled when she saw Sophia curled up beside her, breathing softly in sleep. Last night, Anna lay awake a long time thinking about how much had changed. She thought of the courtroom where she once felt small and afraid. Now she felt strong and proud. She kissed Sophia's forehead and whispered, "Good morning, Michiello." Sophia stirred and opened her eyes, giving her mother a sleepy grin. Anna slipped out of bed and dressed quietly so she would not wake her daughter. Downstairs in the kitchen, the table was set with warm pancakes, fresh fruit, and glasses of orange juice. Anna hummed a gentle tune as she moved through the room. She poured syrup over the pancakes and arranged strawberries on the plate. Sophia padded into the kitchen in her slippers, rubbing her eyes. When she saw the breakfast, she clapped her hands. "Yum," she said. Anna laughed softly. "I thought you might like these," she said, sliding a plate in front of Sophia. They ate together, talking about the flowers in the garden that were starting to bloom. Outside, the sun rose over the rooftops, filling the kitchen with golden light. After breakfast, Anna gathered her papers and headed to her small office space at home. She and Mr. Chavez had turned a corner of their living room into a tiny office, filled with binders and files. Today, Anna would write letters to the judges and courthouses across the state, sharing her story and the lessons learned from her fight. She wanted other families to have help before they faced the same fear. Sophia sat at a little desk beside her, drawing pictures of hearts and daisies. Anna smiled when she saw the pictures. She thought how lucky she was to have her daughters. Laughter filled the room instead of tears. While Anna worked, the phone rang with invitations. A local radio host asked her to join a call-in show about fairness in family courts. A community leader invited her to speak at a meeting about legal aid. Each invitation reminded Anna that her story had grown beyond her town. She wrote polite replies saying she would be honored to share her experience. She took care not to overload her schedule, knowing she needed time at home with Sophia. The little girl looked up from her drawing and asked, "Mama, will you ever stop talking about court?" Anna smiled and ruffled her hair. "Only when I know no one else has to face what we did," she said. Sophia nodded thoughtfully and went back to her picture. By midday, Anna received a message from the White House. Deputy Counsel Sarah Lee had sent an email congratulating Anna on the successful town hall and new hearing. She wrote that the pilot program for legal aid funding would soon expand to other states. Anna felt a burst of pride. She drafted a quick reply. "Thank you for believing in me and in families everywhere. I am honored to be part of this change." She hit send and sat back, feeling a gentle warmth in her chest. This was more than she ever dreamed. That afternoon, Anna and Sophia walked to the community garden, a quiet spot behind the center. Neighbors tended rows of vegetables and flowers. A woman named Mrs. Patel, who brought watermelons last summer, waved at them. Sophia called, "Come help us plant tomatoes today." Anna knelt in the soil beside her. She felt the earth soft between her fingers. Sophia helped plant seedlings, carefully patting soil around each one. Anna watched her daughter's small hands and thought how important it was to give Sophia roots and hope. As they planted, Mrs. Patel said, "Your story brought people together. This garden grew because we believed in second chances." Anna nodded, her eyes bright. On the way home, Anna stopped by the courthouse steps where her fight began. The building looked the same, tall columns, heavy doors, and a bronze plaque by the entrance. Anna paused and touched the plaque gently. Memories came back, her trembling hands, the bailiff's stern face, Sophia's tears in the hallway. But then she thought of the daisies, the petitions, the White House letter, and the cheering neighbors. She lifted her head and smiled. This place, once a symbol of fear, now marked a turning point for her and many others. She whispered, "Thank you," and walked away with Sophia's hand in hers. That evening, Anna prepared dinner, homemade soup and bread. Sophia helped set the table, placing colorful placemats and folding napkins. They ate together, and Anna listened as Sophia talked about her day at school. The little girl said her friends all asked about the garden and the story that it made. The news. Sophia laughed as she told Anna how one boy said, "Your mom's like a superhero." Anna felt tears of joy and pride. She hugged Sophia and said, "Yes, me, amor, I suppose I am your superhero." Sophia giggled and covered her face. After dinner, Anna sat with her laptop open. She drafted a short report on the pilot programs. First successes. 5 small towns now had legal aid clinics, and judges in 3 counties completed family law workshops. She included photos of happy parents and children. She planned to send this report to Sarah Lee in the Department of Justice. Anna wanted to show that a small action could have a big ripple effect. She paused and looked at Sophia playing with her rabbit. The rabbit's ears flopped as Sophia hopped around the room pretending to be a bunny. Anna smiled. She felt grateful for every moment of peace and joy. Later, Anna tucked Sophia into bed. She pulled the covers up and kissed her daughter's forehead. Sophia yawned and whispered, "Mama, will I ever have to be in court?" Anna sat on the edge of the bed and gently stroked Sophia's hair. "Not unless you want to," she said softly. "I'll make sure you have help if you ever need it." Sophia closed her eyes and murmured, "Good night, Mama." Anna watched her daughter sleep, her small chest rising and falling. She thought of the long road they had traveled from fear and shame to hope and justice. She felt a deep sense of peace. Anna left the room and paused outside the door. She looked at the moon shining through the window and remembered the fireflies that greeted her return. She thought of every person who signed the petition, every neighbor who offered a muffin, every official who listened. She realized that together, people could challenge the greatest walls. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Thank you," to the night sky. In the days that followed, Anna continued her work. She visited schools to speak about fairness and courage. She joined meetings with judges to share her experience and offer ideas for improvement. She helped recruit volunteers for the new legal aid clinics. Everywhere she went, people greeted her warmly. They thanked her for giving them hope. And Anna always said, "I only told my truth." She never forgot the little girl who held her hand in that cold courtroom. Sophia grew up knowing her mother's story. She learned that fairness and love could conquer even the toughest challenges. Years later, Anna returned to the same courthouse one more time. This time, she walked in not as a defendant, but as a guest speaker. The courthouse held a seminar on family law reforms. Anna spoke to a packed room of judges, lawyers, clerks, and students. She told her story again, using simple words and sharing the impact it had made. She ended by saying no one should ever feel less than human in a place meant for justice. The audience rose to their feet and applauded. Anna felt her eyes fill with happy tears. After the seminar, Anna walked outside to find Sophia waiting by the columns. She wore a graduation gown and held a diploma. Anna ran to her daughter and swept her into her arms. Sophia laughed and hugged her back. "Mama, I did it," she said. Anna looked at the courthouse and thought of how far they had come. She whispered into Sophia's hair, "You did it, mi amor. You did it." The sun shone brightly overhead as they walked away together. The daisies in the garden waved in the breeze. Anna held her daughter's hand, and they walked toward the next chapter of their lives, stronger, kinder, and full of hope. And in Anna's heart, she knew that every mother, every child, and every person who loved fairness would carry her story forward, lighting the way for others in the days to come.